Rahim. I am Dr. Inamul Haq Khan. I did my MBBS in the first batch of Rawalpindi Medical College and did my post graduation in cardiology from National Institute of Cardiovascular Disease, Karachi. I had the privilege of having very good teachers, cardiologists. Our course director was Professor Muhammad Azhar Farooqi. Teachers like Professor Kalimuddin Aziz, very wonderful pediatric cardiologist, well known worldwide, had original, both of them, they had chapters and privilege of writing in international um, cardiology books. Then I had also privilege of having Professor Abdul Samad, very nice or a brotherly teacher, and also I had the chance to accompany or to what you call not to assist. I'm not a surgeon, Professor Abdul Rahman Sahib. So I had a pedigree which says that they were very nice teacher. I am planning. You see, every person has a unique life, and he has some experience of his own. Many of us, many of all of you have some very interesting stories to tell. Today, I am starting my program. I will try to tell you about certain unique thing which happened as a doctor in my life. I have named this as a doctor's life. The first one I want to present is resuscitation effort by me in Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. I was posted in King Khalid Hospital at that time. There was a baby 4 years old on the in September 1989. He was missing for some time in the house. Mother was calling, and when she didn't find, she saw in the water. There was a tank in the house where they store water and then they distribute whenever it's needed. The child was found in that. She telephoned uh, civil defense services at 10 a.m. in the morning. The services, they are very quick, they are very wonderful drivers. They reached the scene at 10:18. The child was picked from that pond and then he was rushed to the emergency department of King Khalid Hospital, clad in a blanket. By clad, I mean it was wrapped all around him. There was a 8-inch blanket above his head and 8-10 inches from down, and he was rolled 3-4 times in it. So that means that there was no resuscitative efforts on the way. They didn't try anything because they thought it's already a goner. So I was in emergency duty at that time. The child was brought and I unwrapped him, rolled over and unwrapped him and find a 4 years old, very beautiful looking child, blue and cyanose with no breathing effort. I immediately checked the carotids. There was no carotids. Then I got a light and checked his pupils. They were fully dilated and not responding. I don't know, but basically our training is that once somebody has full dilated pupils, non-reacting, we think already the person is gone, or anyway confirmatory thing is to have an EEG, but we didn't have EEG at that time. I said, okay, well, I will try because it was cold, and I didn't ask the history, but they told that he has been drowned. I started CPR and I asked the Filipino, very nice Filipino nurses. I told them that put him on monitor and then started resuscitating. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 minutes vigorous according to the age of the child. I had compression. Then we also asked them to, because at that time we didn't have these modern CPR, basic life supports and advanced cardiac life support like this is these days. So I was doing it 7 or 8 minutes. There was no response. After 7 or 8 minutes of cardiac massage, I asked the Philippine nurses to give me adrenaline diluted about quarter cc. I directly injected in the heart, and then in plunger showed blood gushing in the syringe. I injected that and then continued the massage. This procedure we are doing before that, but later on it was not recommended, so we have stopped these days. But after About 3 minutes of massage post-adrenaline, I saw a ventricular twitch on the monitor. I'm a cardiology person. I have been through this CPR many times. Many people have been reverted with PFs and pulseless tachycardias and even supraventricular tachycardia which were not responding. We did cardioversions and defibrillation many times. But this was different. This was right from the ventricle. I said it's incidental, no problem, we will continue. And after some time, there were two, three. Then later on, there was some run of tachycardias. After about half a minute or 1 minute, the heart started and monitor showed a very tachycardic look, and when it looked like maybe ventricular fibrillation, but the complex gradually started contracting, and there was ST elevation about 6-7 millimeters. So I thought that maybe it's the infarcted heart or he was not getting perfusion, but this gradually came down. I could feel the pericardium moving, and I checked the carotids, I checked the arm, radial arteries, and went for dorsalis feeder, posterior tibial, posterior dorsalis posterior tibial uh, arteries in the limbs. There are two. We regularly check them. They were all there. I asked them to. They said we could feel the pulse, and they checked the blood pressure. It got 60/40, and then gradually rose to a little bit higher than that. Then at that time, and we are continuously giving through Ambu some oxygen support. I called pediatrician from the pediatric department, very good pediatrician, Dr. Samoor from Jordan, and Dr. Turia from some African country. They came rushing and then saw the baby. Baby was cold, no breathing effort, pupils fixed, dilated, but heart was there, and ST elevation has gone. We at that time about 3-4 minutes of cardiac activity and oxygen. We checked the BGA. It was 6.76. Note this was 6.76, very acidotic state. And I also gave some soda bicarb diluted. Then the pediatrician they took over. They said, okay, we'll shift him to the ward. We had done a little bit suction before putting in the tube. There was some froth also there. So the child was taken in. They kept him on a servo ventilator. There was some later on some uh, uh, emphysematous skin was seen, and he also during course developed some bronchopneumonia, which was treated. After about 24 hours, even much before that, about 4:30 p.m., they could see a sluggish pupillary erection, but still no breathing effort, and no spontaneous breathing, no breathing effort, nothing. So about 24 hours to 48 hours, the pupils were started reacting little bit better, but still there was no response. In about 72 hours, the child gained full consciousness, and then about another 4 or 6 hours, they could even with sport let him sit in the bed. Dr. Turia telephoned me about more than 72 hours later that Dr. Inam, you will be happy to know the child you have resuscitated is now good. He is responding. He is sitting up in the bed and taking food by his own head. I was surprised. You see, I never thought, I can never imagine that a child who has been pulseless with fixed dilated pupils for that time, for that much time, and no respiratory efforts on the way, no resuscitative efforts on the way, no CPR was done. In those 1988, 1989 times, the emergency medical technicians were not that good. They didn't do anything. They just wrapped him and brought as a dead body, because those days all dead bodies at the home have to be certified in the hospital by the doctor. So they were brought, but I did this thing. I'm not sure why I did that, but it was there. This thing has never happened before, and I have another experience with this sort of this, with the conviction in mind that this can be done, this is possible. Never reported before, and if reported, they were sequelae of complication of this resuscitation. In many studies, they have seen that whosoever had CPR and had fixed dilated people and had a pH of 6.89. They never recovered fully. There were no spontaneous, what you call, they can say that this is normal child. But our child was kept in the hospital in ICU pediatric department and discharged 11 days later. Obviously, walking, taking his own food. Problem was that he never followed up. Then doctors had to call his home and his parents, and that they told him he's obviously doing very fine. And the first thing they said that at present he is playing football, according to age, 4 years, kicking the football and running around. So this is very remarkable, unique thing. It never happened in my life before. I could never imagine that someone with that much of long cardiac arrest, with this much, had no neurological deficit after CPR. So purpose of my this thing is not to change the guideline, but it is to point that this is something, drowning in children is something which should be given due respect, and should all efforts should be done, because this happened and I was the one who did it, and I will next time I will come with another case like that is even more interesting than this. So my request is that don't just see pupils and stop CPR, or don't do CPR. This can be done. So I think if you find it interesting, then you keep on looking at my this thing as a doctor's life. This is my life, and I have unique experience of having some wonderful experience regarding CPR and routine things. Allah Hafiz. Assalamu alaikum.